This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of North Haven.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for the month of August 2, 2019. My name is Ron Carlson, and I am the chairman of the commission. Before we get going, let me introduce our staff to you, which is a little bit in different order tonight, but we will start over to my left now, which will be Andy Bellavacqui. He is our town engineer. Next to him is Alan Fredrickson, our land use administrator. Over to my extreme right is Mary Lee Radjuski. She's our court reporter. Next to her is Pam Miller, is our staff secretary. Jim
Gilletti, regular member.
Teresa Ranciato Vili, regular member.
Ron Panton, vice chair.
Rich Wilson, secretary.
Joe Salamini, alternate.
Louis Morelli.
He's an alternate.
He's just look.
Okay, so in any event, before we get going here, we're going to have a couple of different things at the meeting tonight. We have to go over a little commission business, and we'll take that in order. Other than that, we do have an 8-24, I think.
Yep.
We do.
Oh, okay, I didn't see it. 8-24, and a couple public hearings and some site plans. So it's not a long agenda, but the way it works is the applicant will bring the application, and we'll hear it. After we're through in the public hearings, we'll open it up to the public, and they'll have their say in respect to anything that they'd like. With the deliberation, in site plans and deliberation, there is no public input. And so with that being said, is there any changes to the agenda, Alan?
No.
Okay, that's good. Is everyone here tonight, or is anybody sick?
Everyone's here except Ed.
Except Ed, okay. Okay, so we got a full staff tonight. All right,
On to the park.
Rich, would you read in the call of the first public hearing, please?
Actually, we're going to do the 824 first?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is not a public hearing.
Oh, yeah, it's a
So it doesn't need a
okay, the 824.
It's on the agenda.
824 is a referral from the town regarding some town business. We'll discuss that right now.
Okay, good evening. For the record, Andy Bellavacqui, town engineer. So this is an 824 referral for a small widening project on Defco Park Road. Essentially at Defco Park Road, where it comes down and ties into Washington Avenue. The complaint has been that when tractor trailers come down, you've got a left turn lane and a right turn lane at the end. When tractor trailers come down to the stop bar here, that they end up blocking the traffic, so traffic can't get by on the right-hand side. So you get two tractor trailers stopped here, and basically traffic just backs up the road. So you can't take advantage of the two stacking lanes. So the idea with this is to try to keep it simple, stay out of the DOT right away to limit DOT's involvement in the project, and essentially extend the existing stacking lanes that we already have to allow at least 3 tractor trailers to stop making that left turn without blocking the remainder of the traffic. So that's essentially the project. It's really in support of the work that we did with for Amazon, that new road that was constructed off of Defco Park Road, because that provides a tie-in for Amazon in the backside there. The residents of the owners of the industrial park have been complaining about this as a traffic issue, and when that road went in, it made them even more vocal about potential problems with traffic, because Amazon is utilizing that road for some of their traffic in and out. Not truck traffic, but car traffic anyway.
When were you planning on starting the project?
Probably be out to bid in a couple of weeks. Project start sometime in September. And the idea is to try to get this thing finished up while the asphalt plants are still open this season.
And what would be the completion date on it?
Probably looking at end of November.
Short.
Somewhere in that ballpark, yeah. It's not a huge project. About $350,000 is what I'm estimating at this point.
Okay.
It's relative.
Commission have any?
Yeah, I do. I just don't fully understand. So what show me the widening. What is it now and what's going to be widened?
Okay, sure. So if you can see here, this is roughly the existing road.
The grayish area that you
You can
have?
see this kind of speckle area, that's the widening.
So you're going to grab the inside of it?
Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to grade it down. It should be in your packets there.
Yeah, no, I have this, I have your plan, but I'm not good at reading those. It's the speckled areas you're grabbing from who, or from
Yes,
ourselves?
it's especially the speckle area that's going to
Right.
be under fill. So we go off to the grading sheet, you can see how the slope basically gets graded down. It's a fairly steep slope right now, we're just going to kind of move it back some more. It's going to get a little bit steeper than it is right now.
So that speckled area is part of the town's right of way now, they're just going to pave that speckled area, for lack of a better word?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. You can see the right-of-way line
So-
follows right about here.
The people that are complaining is that, I mean, is it wide enough for 2 trucks now? Or wide enough for a truck and a car now?
Yes, yeah.
You know what
there's-
I'm saying?
There's enough stacking at the light for a truck and
And a car.
Several cars, yeah.
So if a truck is taking a right to go down Washington Avenue south, can he do it from the right lane, or is that not what's anticipated to be happening? Do they only take lefts?
No, that's exactly how it would be. So right now, there's a left turn and a right turn that comes out of the road right now.
Right.
So,
So if a truck is taking a right, he should be in the right lane?
correct, yes.
So the problem is that they're effectively taking up both lanes?
Yeah, if there's multiple trucks in the left turn lane,
Yeah.
what it does is it gets beyond the limits of the stacking
width.
that's available.
Okay.
So the road is not wide enough for cars to squeeze by on the right-hand side.
Now I got it, okay. I didn't understand what you're saying.
The industrial park really wanted 2 left turn lanes, similar to what Amazon has. But in order to get into that, that would get into doing work within the state right away.
Yeah, right.
And we were trying to avoid that, so we promised them we'd do this, we'll see if that works out.
Yeah.
If it still continues to be a big problem, we do have the potential to do a little bit of widening on the other side and give them their full, 2 left turn lanes, 1 right turn lane out of here.
So, but ultimately, shouldn't the, I know the roadway from Defco Park goes into Amazon. Ultimately, we're hoping it will also go out towards the game, right? Whatever that.
Valley
Correct,
Service.
with Valley Service Road.
That's a
Correct.
plan that's coming at some point. We're not
Correct.
there yet, right?
Yeah, we're getting closer.
Yeah.
We've gotten
Do a
through.
bridge over the river and,
We've got the Army Corps of Engineers that's left as far as permits are concerned.
yeah.
So,
Because that'll take some of the, obviously, the truck traffic that's going to go south will go that way.
right. And the Amazon truck traffic uses the Amazon driveway exclusively. We just, Mike Frieda and I just met with the Amazon people today,
So they
and they
won't
told
come
us
this
that all of Amazon's truck traffic comes in and out of their entrance.
Well,
So
then-
this is primarily cars that come in and out of this location.
But then what are they complaining about if they're, I don't understand.
Well, it's all the trucks that are from the industrial park that come out.
So it's not Amazon, it's the industrial park trucks that are causing the problem.
Correct.
And complaining about it.
Well, but it's also the additional car traffic that comes into play with it as well, because there's more vehicles coming into this intersection than there was before, and that's
So
the real
the
complaint.
Amazon trucks won't use this, but the cars will.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And we're also talking to the transit district. The transit district currently runs a bus there, so we're going to have them, they're going to use this entrance to get in, go through that side road, go through the Amazon property, and then out Amazon's exit. That's what we're going to do, right.
So a bus will go right to Amazon.
Yeah, it's doing that right now. Yeah,
It is.
actually, yeah.
Jim, we are in receipt of the wetlands application for the connecting road, is
For the
that not
connecting
correct?
road.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Valley Service Road is where it's
Yes.
going.
Yep.
Okay, that explains it, thank you.
Teresa?
No, I'm understood.
Yeah,
Rich?
this is only for stacking traffic on that driveway and bridge right now.
Correct.
Nothing on Route 5.
Nothing on Route 5, correct. Yeah, we're trying to take care of the problem within the areas that we control.
Well, what happened is, since the road's been built, it's added a lot of industry in the back. So you got more traffic there than you do 20 years ago.
Right. And also preparing for potential redevelopment at the end of Dodge, which we know we had Old Dominion come in. They haven't broken ground yet. They're still having some issues with some environmental problems. But, anticipating that they come in or somebody else comes into that location, these improvements are just going to make that situation that much better.
Makes sense.
Joe?
No questions.
Okay, very good. That's it. Thank you very much, Mandy. Okay,
Should we act on this now or wait
sure.
till
And do it now?
Do it all at once later.
later?
Later.
What do you want to do? You're the commissioner.
You're in charge.
We'll take it later, make it life easy. Okay, Rich, would you read in the call of the first public hearing, P19-22?
P19-22 subdivision application of the town of North Haven, applicant Edward M. and Teresa O. Yates, owner for 2 lots relative to 3022 and 3030 Ridge Road, map 87, lot 74 and 11. Plan entitled subdivision map prepared for the town of North Haven, property of Edward M. and Teresa O. Yates, 3030 Ridge Road, North Haven, and Hamden, Connecticut, prepared by Malone. Room dated June 5th, 2019, scale 1 inch for 50 feet, R40 zoning.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Tom Daly with Mylone and McBroom before you for probably one of the simplest applications I've presented to you, but the proposal this evening is for a subdivision. It's a 2-lot subdivision. The property is located primarily, I refer to it as 330 Ridge Road. On this map, we have Ridge Road located on the right side. All the way to the left side is actually the town of Hamden, and Quinnipiac University owns that. But the town of Hamden has entered into an agreement to purchase the rear portion of this property as open space. So the subdivision is that about 3.9 acres will encompass the Yates property. All the activities there, or the improvements that are on that lot will remain as is. They have a driveway, house, septic, and everything like that is on the particular lot. Once again, it's about 3.9 acres. The rear, there's frontage on Ridge Road. It's kind of this odd-shaped lot, but that will be 14.7 acres, which will be purchased by the town for open space. As part of, we have gone to wetlands. They gave a positive referral. I've received the town staff comments. They're very, very minor in nature, and we will address those with the final comments, final plans. One item that, as part of your normal procedure, any subdivision would require a sidewalk along the frontage. As there's actually no improvements proposed on this particular lot, we are asking for a waiver of sidewalks. There is no sidewalks on Long Ridge Road. And in addition to that, here is a graphic that shows the topography jumps up very quickly on the side of Ridge Road and nicely vegetated. So obviously, I think it's it would take a lot of clearing and cutting and earthwork to put a sidewalk in. And as I said, there's no actual improvements. It's simply a subdivision of land to allow the town to buy the rear portion. And I'm not sure whether it's required, but we're also asking for, obviously, a waiver of any street trees that are required along frontages also. And we think those waivers are appropriate considering what is being proposed. With that, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
I have one quick one, because earlier you just said land to be acquired by the town of Hamden.
Sorry, North Haven. North Haven. My mistake.
Okay.
Yeah. There is a small nuance. There is about, I don't know, I think maybe 5 square feet of land in Hamden that goes into this piece, and we'll work with the town attorney to figure out the best way to handle that.
No, they can have 5 square feet.
But it's a little nuance of how the property line basically merges over with the town line. So that's something we'll have to deal with as a condition of approval once the town tells us how to deal with that.
That was that 14.7?
Yes, 14.7 acres, correct.
Yep.
It's fairly steep topography as you come up here. There's a ridge line, there's a valley in the middle with wetlands here, another kind of very nicely wooded lot. Basically, it probably hasn't been, never been developed as far as I can tell.
Lynn Sadowski, Director of Public Works. It is our intent as the town of North Haven to purchase the 14.7 acres, the possibly 5 square feet of land in Hamden. We will not be purchasing. So we're only purchasing land in the town of North Haven.
5 square feet?
Yeah, it is, Mr. Carlson, it's located in this corner. It jets out into Hamden, the town line. It is very
My
small.
goodness.
And we are asking Malone and McBroom to modify the subdivision, modify the map to include a note that states the portion that's in Hamden will not be purchased by the town of North Haven.
So what will happen to that little piece? Not that I really care very much, but you just leave it.
You know, Mr. Giletti, right now, Mr. Yates has an agreement with Hamden that Hamden essentially kind of takes care of it. They don't do anything with it, and there are no taxes on it.
Does it abut any? I mean, what is it abut?
It abuts Quinnipiac University land, yes.
I thought maybe they could just quit claim the sliver to Quinnipiac and be
Yeah,
done with
some
it.
way.
Right.
Just neaten it up there a little bit, you know?
Hold on, one at a time.
Sorry. Ultimately, I think what Lynn is indicating is it's not the town's responsibility. The town will be buying, so 14.7, some decimal, and Mr. Yates will retain ownership of.
And it doesn't affect the subdivision.
Whatever,
Yeah.
you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Has the town reached an agreement to purchase this land?
We have a letter of intent, Mr. Giletti.
A letter of
yes.
intent, so
Yes.
we don't have a contract yet?
Not until we go through the process of the subdivision,
Right.
went through inland wetlands, now we're here, then I will come back before you next month for an 824. And then last but not least would be the Board of Selectmen who make the final decision.
So somewhere in that process,
And then-
will we find out what we're paying for that?
Oh, we know. It's exactly $400,000, less half of the cost for Malone
For whatever.
for a subdivision. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, are there any plans is there any way for the public to gain access to the site? I mean, if you have a car and need to park it, is there any place?
We don't, Mr. Penton, we don't have a set area for parking of vehicles or anything like that. I mean, but there's, I think, roughly 200 feet of frontage on Ridge Road that you could pull into, but
It's not
we
really
haven't-
accessible very much on Ridge
No,
Road
I
right
mean-
If you look at that topo, you're not
We
parking
need to-
there.
we need to do some work.
It would likely be more neighborhood open space at this time until
Well-
there was some other way
I
to.
can park and hoof it in.
Well,
Yeah.
it's something, actually, we could bring it up at a town meeting. I don't think it impacts this, but I'm with it. I mean, we're buying it's a beautiful piece of property. The back is gorgeous,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
you know, you would hope that
It'd be nice to
public
be
could
able to
take
get,
use of it.
that's
Yeah.
all.
So,
Yeah, people
but we
from
can
the
talk
other
about that
part.
with the town whenever we want to. I don't think it impacts this. But I agree with you. I would hope there'd be some way that people can get
I
in.
think we will get to it. Hopefully we'll get to it.
So are you looking for a waiver of sidewalks?
We are.
Clearly. Says it like, oh,
I see
4
that.
times.
Well, I heard him
And
say,
street trees.
I heard him say street tree waiver. I did not hear the
Sidewalk
sidewalk
and
He
waiver.
said,
I must not have want to heard that.
And we're not going to mark this as an exhibit, it was already in our package, so they'll have it.
Any more questions? Lisa?
No.
Jim?
no, I'm good.
Rich? I'm okay. Joe? No. Luke? Hello? Okay. Okay, let's, we have anybody here in opposition to this application? Anyone in opposition? Anyone in favor? Any questions? Public hearing is closed. Thank you very much. Okay. Rich, you want to read in the call of the special permit P19-23S?
Special permit application, certificate of location and authorization by section 8.10.1 of Timothy Judas, applicant.
Goodace.
What is it?
Yeah.
Goodace?
I'm Timothy Goodace. Alpine Plaza LLC, owner, relative to 630 Washington Avenue, map 101, lot 92, plan entitled Site Plan for Alpine Plaza LLC, Existing Condition Survey, number 630 Washington Avenue, Route 5, North Haven, Connecticut, dated November 28, 2007, revised 7/02/19 scale, 1 inch equals 20 feet, CE40 zoning district.
Okay, sir. It's yours.
I'm Timothy Goodace. I'm the
Excuse me,
applicant.
sir. You're going to need to speak up a little. Spell your last name.
Guodace. Yeah, we're looking to reopen the Bar and Grill at 630 Washington Avenue, and we're applying for a liquor permit.
Were you there before, or
No.
you're just going in there?
The existing business closed, and we're looking to lease the space and reopen the Bar and Grill. The space is already set up.
Okay.
So we're not looking to change the use or anything.
They're only the same area that they had before?
Yep. We're not expanding, we're just cleaning it up inside, and that's it.
All right. Lisa? You want to skip me then?
Skip me for now.
Okay. Joe?
I think there was a letter
Yeah.
from someone on this that made reference to cleaning up the outside of the property too. Do you have any plans to take care of the outside of the property?
At this point, we're only responsible for the inside. I advised the landlord to come to the meeting tonight, but I didn't see him here. So.
Who is the landlord?
I don't have his actual.
Probably on the application somewhere.
I don't know how to spell it. It should be on.
It's Alpine Plaza LLC.
Yeah,
exactly.
Do you know who it is, Alan?
I don't think anybody knows.
I'm trying to recall the gentleman's name. I think I have it at the office. Hold on a second. Was it?
His first name is Ash.
It is. I think it's ASOC, but they call him. He refers to himself as Ash. But honestly, I don't recall his last name. He did sign this particular application.
Sure. As part of the lease agreement, I'm sorry. In our lease agreement, we're just responsible for the inside of the building. So I don't know what his intentions are with the exterior of the building at all. And like I said, he chose not to come to the meeting tonight.
Okay. Joe?
That was my only question.
And your question was that, what was your question?
Just if they had plans to clean up
They
the
got plans to
outside.
clean it up, yeah. Okay, so you have nothing to do with the outside?
At this point, no.
Okay. Rich?
That was my concern too, because there was a letter that came through that that some people in the neighborhood wanted that cleaned up.
I'm sure we all want it cleaned up. Ron?
No questions.
No question.
No.
Jim?
Well, I have the same problem, so what do we do? I mean, it's like, listen, I get what you're saying, that you're only responsible for the inside, but what this person wrote, did you see the letter?
Nope.
Okay.
I wasn't aware.
Let me read it to you. The documentation indicates the application for a new bar and grill will have interior modifications, no exterior changes unless I missed something. To put it simply, 630 is a dump and an eyesore. I've been told that it's been on the blight list for some time. Is that accurate? Is it on the blight list? Do we know?
No, I don't believe it is.
Well, that's interesting. So the person said that it's not, the outside's not very attractive at the moment of the thing. And the difficulty is, I got no problem with you reopening a bar. There's been one there for a long time. But I don't know how we get them to clean it up.
No, and it's another bizarre situation where we don't have any latitude relative to no change of use.
No, I get it.
You know what I mean? And that was unfortunate. Otherwise, you grab a site plan and maybe.
Well, but it's a certificate of location. We do have, it's kind of up to us to say whether it's appropriate or not. So and I'm not looking to cause you guys a problem, but I don't know how to address this issue. Now, there'll be other things that'll come through that I think will probably require, you're only taking the bar, there's a lot more space in there. Hopefully, for the guy's sake, I hope you can get more tenants.
The rest of the building's vacant at the moment.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I think we all know.
Honestly, when I looked at it, the front building, and I'll make a horrible comment, doesn't look that bad.
The facade's not that bad.
But the rear building is something that's had some construction, it's had some board ups and such, and is, in my opinion, is the worst of the two.
It has had construction, so does he have permits out for that?
At this point, I think he does, but I have reported a lack of permits, and they've gone out and shut them down in the past.
Is he in compliance right now for what he has there?
I believe he is. I'm not 100% sure. I believe he is. They go back and forth, and I don't know what happens in the units, but from time to time, and a couple times,
I don't
cars...
really know what happens in the unit.
Well, let me be clearer. I think a car went through the exterior wall and caused an interior issue, if you will. So if you look at it from that point of view, there have been a lot of issues. There have been some plumbing issues that caused finish issues and all that. So
What has been your discussion with the landlord in respect to you opening the bar, per se? You know, you're just going to open up regardless of what the place looks like on the outside, or have you no concern about it, or what is, kind of fill us in on this?
The exterior of the building is okay. I mean, we were going to provide our own signage and things like that, but at this point, we weren't going to be responsible for...
I didn't...
Yeah, I know. But, you know, he says he's going to do this and that, like paint and fix the parking lot, but like you said, I don't know how to make him do it.
It's the parking lot that doesn't look very good to me from this perspective, forgetting the motel. The motel is part of that lot?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is the buildings.
And you could never reapprove it in terms of the density.
Okay. I mean, I think we can't do anything to these guys, but the landlord's got to know
Yeah, I don't
we're
wanna-
concerned about the building.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else from you guys?
No.
No, good.
Okay. Anything else? No? Okay, stop, okay. Okay, is there anyone here would like to speak in favor of this application? Anyone in favor? Anyone in opposition? Any questions? Okay, that being it, public hearing is closed. We will discuss this matter in deliberations. Okay. So we're going to move on to go into the site plans here, which would be 71 Leonardo Drive. Also, we'll take the cam on this fan. Okay, take them both at once. It's P19-12 and P-12A. Okay.
Good evening, Jim Preddy with Criscolo Engineering, 420 East Main Street, Branford. P-R-E-T-T-I. 71 Leonardo Drive is the property all the way at the very end of Leonardo Drive in the industrial subdivision that was part of Plastic Creek a number of years ago. The proposal is for a 9,600 square foot building, warehouse type building. This was approved by Inland Wetlands in November of 2012 and January, February right after by this board. The permits have since lapsed because the construction was not started. We did just recently go back to wetlands and get reapproved there. There was some additional comments from staff, which we've addressed and I believe is noted in the comments now from staff. So basically, we're seeking reapproval of what you guys already approved. Again, these are the buildings on the neighboring piece. Yellow, orange is the new building. Red showing the outline of the entire property. New building, extension of the drive that comes into the property already. Some parking area in the front and the side, turning movements for some trucks, Acri doors, no loading dock type thing. We've increased the stormwater storage areas based on the new comments from the town engineer. And I think we've addressed all the other comments regarding, we've added some items to the plans. The floodway for Waterman's Brook was added, the contours were added. We are going to do some work on the existing culvert under the driveway. And So we're looking for reapproval.
Have you a tenant for this building?
There was a tenant at the time that fell through, and now he has somebody interested again.
So there's somebody new now, so that's why it fell through before, or is that
Yeah.
what it was? Okay, so you do have some, that's great. Andy, can you take a look at you did it?
Yeah, I reviewed it pretty extensively, and there was a lot of things that came up during the wetlands process. That's why I included the wetlands comments, because that's where most of my comments were. Since the time of the wetlands comments, they've addressed most of my concerns. There's still a few that are listed here, but
You feel comfortable with all of them?
all in all, yeah, all in all, I think we're pretty good. Big changes from the prior approval, you know, they incorporated stormwater management, which was really not part of the prior approval. And also, I had some concerns about the existing driveway culvert. Number one, from a capacity standpoint, because I don't know how long that culvert's been there, but I'm sure it was never sized properly to begin with. And also the condition of it, because if you're going to put a new driveway into service a new facility, the condition should be checked, you know. So they did go out and check it. They found a little bit of corrosion of the pipes towards the ends of each of the sections, which they're going to repair. And from a capacity standpoint, they're adding an additional 36-inch RCP to provide additional capacity to get through that. Now you got to remember too that basically this entire site is in the floodplain. But because it's coastal flooding, you have the ability to do the fill work that they're doing here. And that's how it got approved previously, and that's how it's getting.
Right, that's true, in the Wetlands Commission, yeah,
Right.
versus, yeah.
So that's kind of long and the short of it right there.
Okay, thanks. Rich, any question?
No, just that you're all right with all of these recommendations that...
Yes, the only one comment on there was whether or not the commission would like to entertain sidewalks here. This is at the end, actually past the cul-de-sac is up here. There aren't any other sidewalks on Leonardo Drive, so I don't think in this case that warrants sidewalks. I'm not even sure where we'd put them here.
You're asking for a waiver of sidewalks?
Yes.
Anything else, Rich?
No, that's it.
Luke? Luke?
No, wetlands is good, I'm okay.
I sat on this the first time, so this is, other than your wetland stuff, the exact same application to put up the exact same building, correct?
Correct.
We thought it was okay then, and where this is, the waiver of sidewalk seems appropriate to me. So no questions.
All set.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. That includes the site plan. Okay. Okay, we have extension to,
Well, do you want to just blow through in deliberations at this point?
okay, we don't,
I think that's,
Go back to the start?
okay, you want to write to the deliberation?
I think that makes
Okay,
sense.
good enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Take it right up, go right to it. Jim, you want to,
Yeah, I'm going to, with regard to the first matter, the 824 referral, the application to Town of North Haven, I'd make a motion that we give a positive referral for the roadway widening of Defco Park Road.
I will second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm sorry, who seconded?
I made the motion.
And Teresa.
Thank you.
Okay, then we go over to, the first public hearing that we have here is P1922, subdivision for Terry Yates, and they're asking for a waiver of sidewalk and some trees, I believe. Right?
Make a motion to approve it with the waiver of sidewalks and trees.
I'll second that.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second, all in
Just
favor?
before you do, just by way of discussion, I want to make
Okay, go
it
ahead.
clear that I agree, I'm not arguing, but I would, and we would in most places, but there genuinely are no sidewalks anywhere near there. And with regard to the trees, it's a heavily wooded lot, it's a very nice piece of property, so that's why green.
I believe you're
and
right,
wave
Jim.
trees.
If there's ever a place to waive these things, this would be it.
So, just so that I'm on board.
Yep, okay, good. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, can I get a... Okay, we're moving forward to a P19 2023S special permit for what's it?
I'll make a motion to approve
Washington
that.
Avenue. Okay. Ron makes a motion
I'll
to...
second it. I don't have any issues with these.
I don't think so, yeah. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Again, just for discussion purposes, not for them, but when they talk to the landlord, this will not be the last time this piece comes in front of us. There are going to be people that they don't need a change of use, and I understand it, but there are going to be other things, and presumably they will need changes of use. They've had some interesting things in there. So he needs to know when they come for a change of use, we're going to want to see them.
You're going to see any change of use, but can I clarify when the owner comes in or an applicant comes in that you don't want a site plan?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
That's very
Just to
helpful.
let them know that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But I don't want to stop these guys from opening a
Right.
business. I think they're entitled to do it.
The situation is we're being kind of generous giving you the way the position of the commission is. But we don't want to hold you up at all. No one in the commission wants to stop you from opening up. But we certainly would like to have the place look a little bit better.
So let the owner know.
That's all. Anyway, that's
Thank
it.
you.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Okay, we're going to go over to P19-12. It's a site plan for 71 Leonardo Drive. It's the exact same thing that we had the last time, as Jim talked about, and I think it is, and it's also a waiver of sidewalks down there,
Would
so.
take the can with it?
I think you do
No,
it separately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, do the can thing. Yeah, but in any event, you want to talk about that, Jim?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, I have a motion. I get a
With the waiver,
second?
yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, aye. Okay, now we can take the camp. Can I get a motion to approve the camp?
I'll make a motion to approve the CAM as well.
I'll second.
Ron seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, now we can get to the deliberations, the extensions, I guess. 15 Cottontail Lane, is there somebody here for that? You guys are all set.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We generally have them articulate any reason they had in the letter, and there's no representation for extensions generally.
Okay, how long do they want to extend it for?
90 days.
90 days?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Dodge Avenue, 100 Dodge Avenue, which is P1834, 100 Dodge Avenue. This is also an extension now, 90 days.
No, Dodge Avenue is 6 months. Actually, they're looking for 2 6-month extensions. They've got bigger issues at Dodge than they've got in other areas in terms of the environmental issues.
Is Dodge the
Says
trucking?
State permits, yeah.
Yeah.
State permits and infrastructure.
Yeah, they're going to have issues.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Ron had the second.
Okay, P19-07, 678 Middletown Avenue. Alan?
We have actually everything in place as of Friday. It expired Tuesday. They have posted their bond, and it's been approved by Bill Ryan, town attorney, and they're good to go, but they just didn't quite make it.
What is this parcel? Which was?
There's a 2-lot subdivision on Middletown, just south of Velvet. It is a Maneri Development Enterprise. But they're ready to go. I even have all the copies of the drawings.
So how long is it, the extension for?
2 90-day extension.
You get 90 days, so.
290, I'm sorry, they want one.
260 days?
Just 190 day.
190.
Yep.
190? Okay.
That's fine.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, can I have a motion and a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. No bonds, no change of use, correspondence, we'll talk about later. Minutes, let's take the minutes right now. Can I get a motion to approve July 1, 2019 minutes?
I didn't come.
Make a motion to approve.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good. Okay, at this point, I would like to invite Jennifer Capola to step forward to address the commission.
You skipped the correspondence. If you are going to take up the correspondence, you should do that now so that we could excuse the non-voting members on the remand.
That's good.
So that way they can.
Correspondence just.
The correspondence, they can read at their leisure.
Okay. Okay. The non-voting members on the applications that are the subject of the remand, then I apologize, Mary Lee, and I will speak very loudly, Mary Lee, over that fan. Jennifer Capola from Ciolo and D'Onofrio, counsel to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and I am here on the item that is under other. So if that could first be read into the record.
What, should I bring in the members that are, should I read in the members that are going to be?
Perhaps Mr. Pettin can do it because, yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
All right. Deliberation on remand issued by Superior Court in the matter of Vincent J. Pitts et al. Versus Planning and Zoning Commission of the Town of North Haven et al. Docket number HHD CV18 6086377-S, related to applications P17-16S and P17-16 for 124 Mansfield Road.
So the commission members who did vote on these applications were Chairman Carlson, Vice Chairman Pettin, Member Giletti, and alternate Salamini. Those are the only members that should remain in the room. The rest of you can be excused from the meeting because this is our last item.
And I don't care that they have to leave the room, but if we're not in executive session, why can't they stay in the room?
They can stay in the room.
But not at the
But
table?
not at
I
the
understand,
table.
and not part of the proceeding.
You can leave if you like.
Oh. Well, you gotta leave the table.
See you, Lou. Gotta leave the table.
Jennifer, we're going to still be on the record though.
Yes,
Right.
we are not going into executive session.
public
This is a deliberation session on the remand.
Oh, it is?
It's going to be in public session. It is not a public hearing. You will not be taking in any new information from the public. I'm here to assist you. I'm going to just lay out for you the remand. I'll answer any questions that you have.
Yeah.
You, of course, can always have staff in deliberation if you have any questions for them. We do have the record with us if there's other items, but I'll get to that. So I'm going to just, rather than stand, I'm going to come by this microphone, if that's okay. That's lovely. Because there's actually a lot of information to cover.
Should we move the TV mic over to?
Kelly, can we drop it as well?
Is that good for you there?
That should pick me up. So just for the record, as part of your packet, your meeting packet this week, you received correspondence from me regarding the remand. I am going to mark a copy of that correspondence for the record, and I'll go through exactly what needs to occur tonight, but I want to do that first as a housekeeping matter. And in terms of attachments to that correspondence, first of all, the correspondence says included in the meeting agenda for the August 5th, 2019 meeting of the Commission is deliberation on the remand issued by the court in the above referenced matter. You are the 4 members of the commission who voted on the above referenced subject applications, and then enclosed herewith are copies of the following documents for review concerning the remand, and you received a copy of the court's memorandum of decision dated June 10th, 2019, excerpts from the public hearing, including testimony, offered statements made by individuals that were listed within the letter. This was a list that was distributed amongst counsel for the parties and agreed upon. So it's from the 3 nights of public hearing of August 7th, September 11th, and October 2nd of 2017. And again, excerpts, not the full transcripts. You also received record item number 34, which was an exhibit. It was correspondence from Attorney Lee with the enclosures referenced therein that was dated September 26th of 2017. Record item number 27, which was the transcript from the November 13th, 2017 deliberation session on the subject applications. Record numbers 50 and 51, which were the letters of decision on both the special permit application and the site plan application. So we're going to just mark that.
Yes, Ellen.
Exhibit A.
Thank you.
So turning to the memorandum of decision.
You were nice and loud.
Please just make sure that you tell me, because we need to have a transcript. So in terms of the remand, as indicated in the correspondence that was sent to you, delivered to you on Friday, the remand portion of the judge's decision can be found at pages 15 through 19 of the memorandum of decision. And the remand itself, if you'd like to take that out, the remand itself appears on page 18. And it's at the end of the full paragraph there. It says, consequently, the matter is remanded to the commission to make a determination as to whether condition 11, the conservation easement, or the acreage of the easement are integral to the commission's approval. And it cites General Statute Section 8-8L. The commission shall file its decision, and the party shall contact the court to schedule further proceedings not inconsistent with this memorandum of decision. So that's the remand itself. Again, for you to make a determination as to whether condition 11, the conservation easement, or the acreage of the easement are integral to your approval. In terms of the condition of approval number 11, if you look at return of record items number 50 and 51, they both contain condition of approval number 11, which states, this approval is subject to all other representations made by the applicant and her/his representatives during the course of the public hearing. The court's findings with respect to this condition, which was challenged by the plaintiffs in the case, can be found at page 15 of the memorandum of decision. That's where it begins. And it goes on through the top of page 17. The court finds that the condition is illegal and it's void. Specifically, if you look to page 16, after reviewing the parties' respective positions with respect to this condition of approval, the court says, he cites, Judge Berger cites the case of Vasilakis versus Zoning Board of Appeals, that conditions that are impossible to satisfy are patently unreasonable, and zoning authorities may not impose such conditions on their grants of variances, regardless of whether the condition is to be fulfilled by the applicant, another agency, or the zoning authority itself. He finds that without specifically stating the representations, the condition cannot withstand challenge. As noted by the plaintiffs, the public hearing transcript is over 300 pages, and the condition begs the question, what or which exact representation? Does it include every statement, a drawing, etc.? He goes on, though, to say, to cite the law, that the imposition of the void condition doesn't necessarily mean that the whole decision is illegal. And that's at the bottom of page 16, the last full sentence. The imposition of a void condition, however, does not necessarily render the whole decision illegal or inefficacious. If the decision is otherwise supported by sufficient grounds as found by the board, a modification of the decision may be decreed with a view toward ending further litigation. And his final finding is that in the present case, and this is the first sentence of the full paragraph on page 17, in the present case, there is no indication that this condition is based on any specific representation, nor is there any indication that it is integral to its decision. So what you need to determine, and I'm going to just kind of guide you on one more point with regard to this, and I'll let you take that part of the remand up before we talk about the conservation easement, because there's different issues with the conservation easement findings. But, so what you need to decide, the input that Judge Berger is looking for from you, is whether that the imposition of condition of approval number 11 was integral to your decision. So that's the issue that he's returned to you to decide upon. He wants your input on, about whether or not that was integral to your decision, or whether it was something that was not integral or superfluous.
Yeah, let me understand. Go ahead. So I just kind of, we voted in favor of the school application as a whole. I see what 11 says, and I see why somebody could say 11 is vague and unenforceable. So if we wanted to continue our position that the school was appropriate, could we just say that condition 11 is unnecessary and delete it from the conditions of approval?
Yes, you can do that.
That would be a position that we could take. I'm not speaking for the rest of the board, but if I wanted to continue our approval, and that condition is not one of them that's pivotal to me, could I say that my suggestion would be we simply delete number 11? Would that be satisfactory to move it forward from our perspective to end the litigation?
Well, that again, the question that he's put to you is whether or not you believe it was integral. If, as you say, if the commission as a whole believes that it was something that was superfluous and not integral, because if you review the other conditions of approval that you imposed, they were more specific.
Right, and we want all those.
And this was more, I mean, the defendant argued, counsel on behalf of Alexander Clark argued, this was more of the nature of a catch-all.
Agreed, and that's the way I see it too, when it was a catch-all that I don't think is necessary. What I'm asking you is, as our legal counsel, if we say that is superfluous and it can be removed, does that answer Judge Berger's question?
I believe it does, yes.
Okay. You're good.
That's my thought, not my thought, four of us.
That's one of four. But I, as the chair, I am going to urge the rest of the commission to go along with what Jim has talked about doing, is removing 11 from the approval and take it out entirely. Ron, it's up to you, man.
I have no problem with that.
Okay, that's all.
I'm confused because I thought that was integral to the apparent confusion about the easement.
Well, we'll get to the conservation easement, because again, he remanded also on the conservation easement.
So there's two
And we'll
objections.
Yes,
Okay.
he's looking for input on both this condition 11, again, because he found it to be illegal and void. But he's indicating, and this is the law, he's indicating that although that condition is found by the court to be void, It can be severed from the remainder of your decision if, again, you believe that it was not an integral part. So I would suggest to you that you proceed, and certainly Member Salamini, if you want to offer comment, but that you proceed with a motion finding whether or not you believe that along the lines of whether or not it was integral to the decision.
So what, and I'd like to hear from Joe too, but if we made a motion that is not integral to our decision and therefore should be removed, should we say that?
Yes.
Okay, that would be my motion when the time comes, but I want to hear from Joe.
Ron, you're good with that? Okay. Joe, you're good with that? You agree with that? Okay. Well, at this point,
do we do it in pieces?
Do it right now?
I think you should do it right now, and then we'll...
Jim, I would like to have a motion.
I'll make a motion that this board finds that condition number 11 is not integral to our decision and should be removed from our approval.
I second that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. The members that are voting are in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all in favor. It carries. Okay, Jen.
Okay. Now, with regard to the conservation easement, the court's discussion begins on page 17, and Commission Member Benton is correct. The court says that the last issue regarding the conservation easement is inextricably intertwined with condition 11. The record reveals that the Commission voted to require a conservation easement as a condition for approval. And specifically, he quotes Commissioner Pettin when he made his motion to approve the application. One of the conditions of approval, number 7, was, and I'm quoting, the conservation easement, which was shown as one of the exhibits largely identified as wetlands, be included. The approval letters lack this condition. So again, going back to record items number 50 and 51, that condition of approval, if you examine those record items, was not included as condition of approval number 7 or any condition of approval that is listed in those letters of decision. So there are separate letters of decision for the special permit and for the site plan application. The Commission argues that the plans identified the proposed easement, and therefore it became part of the approved application, obviating the need to make it a separate condition. This is all on page 17 of the court's decision, and the full paragraph there. Additionally, the Commission concurs with the defendant, who argues that this matter is moot because the easement was recorded as a declaration of conservation restrictions, that's in quote, on the land records on September 13, 2018, which satisfies the omitted condition. And the court goes on, Judge Berger finds at paragraph 18, and this really, I think, needs to be the focus, and why we as council made the decision to give you all the excerpts of the transcripts that we did. There is, however, some question about whether the Commission was aware that the easement that was recorded was substantially less than the 23 of 25 acres, that's in quote, as represented by the applicant's representative, Jennifer Clark, during the first night of the public hearing, and it cites the record item. And you do have that record item. It's the first night of the public hearing, August 7th, I believe it was, item number 13, page 9. And then the court goes on. In its deliberations, one of the Commission members, James Giletti, commented, and this is in quotes, 22 acres to be preserved as a conservancy and approved conservation easement approved by the town attorney, and that transcript is also referenced. Your deliberation transcript, you did receive a full copy of the deliberation transcript, which is record item number 47 for your review for tonight. Another Commission member, Joseph Salamini, commented on being disappointed by the relatively limited conservation area, also referencing that deliberation transcript. The record also does not reveal why the commission voted to approve the applications with the condition that, in quotes, the conservation easement which was shown as one of the exhibits, largely identified as wetlands, be included, but then abandoned the condition in final approvals. Thus, it is unclear whether the conservation easement or its size was integral to the commission's decision. So there's a lot there, and if I can answer your question, I will.
What do they mean it was abandoned in the final approval? It was my motion and everybody voted on it.
Okay.
It's very unambiguous.
So if you look at record items number 50 and 51 in the packet that was given to you for tonight, you'll see the letters of decision. And that condition of approval number 7 does not appear in your letters of decision. Now, I should just point out to you that the argument that was made to the court with regard to that on the commission's behalf, and this was in speaking with staff as well, was that that condition of approval was omitted because of the fact that when Attorney Lee submitted his September 26, 2017 correspondence to you, and that's record item number 34 that you received, so you can take a look at that. But attached to that was the conservation restriction map that was prepared by Malone and McBroom. And so, similar to if you had received revised plans during the course of a public hearing, that drawing, the position that was taken on your behalf was that that drawing would have become part of the application, similar to what revised plans would have become. And that's my understanding for why that condition was omitted from the letters of decision. But the court wants to understand again, was having the conservation easement an integral part of your decision? Was the size of the conservation easement, I mean, your motion was clear that you were essentially incorporating what was offered as an exhibit, but there were comments that were made in the deliberation session that conflicted.
Confuse that issue.
And could certainly be, confusing to the court.
There were a lot of deliberations and a lot of comments.
A lot of discussion.
All I know is that when the final motion was made, it seemed to me that it was and still is completely unambiguous and completely clear and simple. I can see no confusion on anyone's part, and everyone voted to approve that motion. So I'm really at a loss for why anyone thinks there was any confusion.
Well, and I maybe let me ask Jennifer so that I understand. What ultimately happened, as I understand it, is before we actually voted, the conservation easement was already in place. We had a plan that showed the conservation easement that was going to be given, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that is true.
And a conservation
what was
easement
reported was similar to what you received in the public hearing.
So the conservation easement was given. There is a conservation easement there. It's not what I had said that would have been nice to be 23 or 24 acres, correct? It's less than that.
Well, you have, again, the exhibit that was given was exhibit number, or return of record item, not exhibit number, return of record item number 34.
Right.
Before you.
Which displayed
and
what would be the conservation easement,
And it
correct?
displayed what would be the conservation easement.
So we voted knowing that that's what the conservation easement was going to be.
That was the offered conservation easement.
At that time.
So that's what we were agreeing to, and that's the confusion that we need to eliminate, that this is what we wanted. Is that correct?
Yes.
What do we need to fix this? What do we need to do to make it clear that we all voted knowing what we were voting for and we don't want to change it?
And this was it. That's what I'm saying, that was what we knew it was and what we were agreeing.
What's confusing to the court? How do we straighten it out?
What's confusing to the court, I think,
Is some of our comments.
just based upon the testimony, was whether or not you believed you were getting a conservation easement over 22 or 23 of the almost 25 acres, or whether you were getting it only the wetlands area.
You can't do it.
Sorry, can I?
You can't do it.
And I think, Joe, by all means, offer your comments, because your comments were also quoted by the court.
You and me.
So I'm just looking at the decision that you guided us to and that was provided where Judge Berger says there is some question about whether the commission was aware that the easement that was recorded was substantially less than 23 or 25 acres as represented by the applicant's representative, Jennifer Clark, during the first night of the public hearing. So if I'm reading it right, the judge is asking whether we, when we voted, knew that we were not getting 23 of 25 acres.
Exactly. He wants to make certain that that was the case.
From my perspective, when I voted to approve the application, I knew that we were not getting a 23-acre easement or conservation easement. I was aware that we were not getting a large easement. I know he makes reference, or somebody makes reference to the fact that I say something like I was disappointed or something like that. I was aware of what we were voting on. I think my comments might have been taken a little bit out of context as to saying I was disappointed or was relatively limited.
And I'm in the exact same place. I think we knew we were getting less than we had originally hoped for. I think we knew we were getting what is in Turner Record.
I knew we were voting on this, and I'm sure that everybody...
I remember getting that map. I do too.
Right, so this is what we had in mind.
And again, I think for the record, the chairman is pointing to or gesturing towards the map that was included in record item number 34.
We can't go into it, but
that's what he's pointing to.
Yeah.
So that is what we understand.
One at a time speaking, please. This has got to have transcript.
So that is what we understood that we were getting.
I made the motion. I feel exactly the same way now as I did when I made the motion. I knew it was for this map. I knew it was for 207,000 square feet as shown on the map.
And for the record, Ron is referring to the same return to record 30.
Same things as that referred to. And you as well, Joe. Correct. And Jim is well. So we're all in agreement.
So what do you need?
And you all intended that the conservation easement be a condition of approval.
Yes.
Absolutely.
As it was presented.
Yes.
Correct.
I think that this is a bit confusing. It is. I think that you need to move based upon that be the determination that be conveyed to the court.
What? Say it specifically. What do we need to move?
You want me to propose a motion?
Yes.
We can discuss it. Okay. I move that the commission reinforce its understanding of the original condition. Of the original condition number 7, which shows the conservation easement shown as the exhibit, largely identified as wetlands, be included, and perhaps to clarify, as shown on the map as part of ROR 34, it shows the total conservation easement equaling 207,000 square feet.
That actually is only Section A of the conservation easement. There's A, B, and C.
Yeah, but it says total.
That's not the total, I think that's only for section A.
It says sections A, B, and C, 207,000 square feet.
Where are you looking at, Ron?
Up in the upper right-hand corner. There's a little box, and it's got lines going to all three easement areas.
See in the upper right-hand corner?
Okay.
Right?
It says 207,000.
I do know how to read
But I
this.
don't, I got you.
My
It doesn't say total.
vision's not what it was.
So, is that motion?
2017 looked.
Is that motion okay?
Is there any way we can get a read back on that? I've got a motion to reinforce the commission's understanding that condition 7 is a part of the conditions of approval, and that the condition is, let me say, represented by the map that was submitted in return record number 34, showing a certain square footage in total.
Don't put the number in there.
Do we need to add that it was my verbal number 7, not the written number 7? So as to, I realize some people have a hard time understanding simple things, but, you know, there's the numbers that I listed in my motion to approve are different than the numbers that were in the written letter. Do we need to clarify that?
Maybe add the word verbal in front of the word condition.
Yes. Thank you.
That verbal condition number 7 is a part of the conditions of approval.
That should do it. Good.
And that their understanding of the conservation easement is in accordance with the drawing provided by the applicant.
John, is that good?
As record item.
Jim?
It's fine by me. That works out, because that's what
I think that incorporates both of the concerns of the court, yes.
Okay.
I'll second his motion.
Okay, Ron made the motion, Jim seconded it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Thank you very much. We will give the court, we'll get a transcript, give the court a transcript, as well as a copy of the correspondence that went to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
We need a motion to adjourn.
Is there anything else to come before the commission? No. Okay, hearing a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.